You are past the resume stage and interviewing for an IT job. Now it gets serious. The competition is hot for today's tech jobs, so how can you make sure you stand out and get the job you want? Well, building a team is one of the most important responsibilities I have. And after decades and hundreds of interviews, I can tell you there are a few things that consistently separate the top tier candidates from the rest. In this episode of Tech from the Trenches, I'm going to share 4 key things hiring managers are looking for in the interview and 3 big fails that can blow it for you big time. So if you're ready to rise to the top, let's get into it. Hi, welcome to Tech from the Trenches with Mike Harvey. I'm Mike Harvey. Please push all the red buttons below so you don't miss an episode. Today we're going to talk about how you can crush your IT job interview. In the previous episode, we discussed the 5 things to get you to this point, including how to identify the job you want and get yourself noticed, aka the interview. But no time for congratulations just yet. You cleared the first hurdle. Now it's interview time. Before we get into the specifics, I want to set the stage for the interview and the objectives the interviewers are looking to meet. At the point you are scheduled for interviews, it's reasonably safe to assume your resume covered the basic qualifications and experience for the position. While the context of the interview may be virtual or in person, a one-to-one or a tribunal style, which I don't really like, the objectives of the company you are interviewing with are always the same. The interview is intended to get clarification on some references in your resume, provide more insight into who you are, and if you will be a good fit. In short, the goal is to rank you against other candidates to find the best person for the job, period. Now let's talk about what will make sure you nail it. Number 1, be yourself. As much as the company wants to ensure you will be a fit for them, you also want to know their culture will be a fit for you. There is never a need to put on airs during an interview. Your focus should be giving them insight into who you are, what motivates you, and ultimately what you want to get out of the position and your experience with the company. If you are disingenuous or acting, it will make you nervous and them suspicious. Number 2. Be respectful. A lack of respect is the one thing that will blow the interview almost immediately. Show respect by being early. I know this sounds common sense. Dressing professionally, regardless of the company's dress code. Be prepared to discuss the details of your resume and have a few questions about the company to ask if the opportunity arises. Most important here is to understand the difference between respectfully confident, which you want to be, and projecting arrogance. Arrogance never wins. Number 3. Communicate clearly. More often than not, when several candidates equally meet requirements and other intangibles, it will almost always come down to communication skills. And for some reason, technical people think verbal communication is optional. It is not. You cannot be an effective member of a team without good communication skills, both written and, in the case of the interview, verbal. The way you interact with the interviewers will be their impression of the best case scenario of your communication with your peers. They will assume you are on your best behavior. This goes for both verbal and nonverbal communication. So during the interview, think about your responses, answer directly and plainly, and don't ramble on endlessly. Number 4, be prepared. The impression you give regarding your preparedness for the interview will be interpreted as how serious you are about this opportunity, as well as your work ethic. Research the company you're applying for so you understand how the role you're applying for fits in their overall operation and strategy. If you have genuine and insightful questions about the company, be prepared to ask. Have them written down. Preamble your questions with phrases like, "I read on your website," or "Hey, I saw in a recent news article," or "I found on your social media, blah, blah, blah," to let them know that you have done your homework. The interviewers will also expect you to know your craft and may challenge you to express that knowledge. This is another aspect of being prepared. Know your resume and the details of everything on it so you can go into those details if challenged. While these 4 things could apply to non-IT jobs, they are most especially important in the tech world. Your ability to contribute as an effective member of a highly functioning team is what separates you from the rest. And in the technology world, teamwork is critical. That's how you nail it. Now, aside from the obvious, like doing the opposite of what we just discussed, such as acting like someone else, being arrogant, mumbling a lot, or coming late dressed in pajamas, what are the common pitfalls that can blow the interview? 3 things. Number 1, failure to answer a question. If you are asked a direct question, answer it directly and completely. You may get away with not answering one question directly if the interviewers think you may not have understood the question, but that's not great either. If you don't understand a question, ask a clarifying question or 2 until you do. The clear and accurate understanding of requirements is a basic skill in any IT role, and you must be able to gain a clear understanding of need in order to be effective. If you can't get an understanding of a question so you can answer it accurately, you fail. You should never try to beat around the bush if the interviewer gets the impression that you aren't answering a question directly. They will assume you are evading the question. This ain't politics. You can't pivot your way out of uncomfortable questions. Now, number 2, major fail. Making shit up. If you don't know the answer to a question, say so. Don't make shit up. It is perfectly acceptable to be honest and say, I've never heard that, or I'm not familiar with that technology, rather than to say you know something or make up an answer and try to look smart. This is an opportunity to be yourself, number 1. In any job, but most importantly, especially in IT, there is nothing more dangerous or destructive than someone espousing expertise where there isn't any. Don't be that person. Do be the person that says, I don't know, but I will go do some research and get back to you. I can tell you that I have an innate sense of knowing when someone is BSing me. You should assume the interviewer does too. And lastly, number 3 fail, being guarded. This is not really the opposite of being yourself. You could be a shy and quiet person that doesn't like sharing things about themselves. Well, get over it. Most tech people are introverts by nature, so you will not get a pass here. When you are guarded or elusive, the interviewer will likely assume you either have something to hide or insecure or are too shy to communicate effectively, none of which is helpful for you landing that role. If you are the shy type, practice in a mirror, have friends interview, hell, join Toastmasters for that matter, or whatever you need to do to get over it. So there you have it, 4 things to do and 3 things to avoid. I hope this was helpful for you, and please let us know when you nail it in the comment section below. Please follow, subscribe so you never miss an episode. That's all for this episode of Tech from the Trenches. Thanks for watching. Now go build something awesome.